A Moment with Tyranny podcast. This episode in conversation is powered by Homes with Tyranny. Hello, and welcome back to A Moment with Tyranny podcast. I'm so glad that you're joining us again. And today I'll be solo. No guest today. Today's topic is going to be about real estate. And let me just jump right on into it. The title today, or the topic today, is Sellers Prepare Your Homes for Showing. I'm coming to you with a lot of experience in this. I've been a real estate agent, or a realtor, should I say, real estate agent, same thing, since 2008, and I have shown a lot of homes to buyers. And one thing I can say to the sellers is, if you're really wanting to sell your house fast, if you're wanting to get the best offer you can, you have to prepare your homes for showing, and you have to be flexible with the showing time. You wouldn't believe how many times I have gone into different properties and it's just not show ready. And as soon as the buyer walks in, the first thing they do is they look at it and they're like, they can't even get themselves past the front door. So one thing that sellers have to realize is that I know that we fall in love with our homes. We've put our love, our touches, we put our design in, but a buyer comes in, they may not have the exact same taste that we have. So we have to make sure that we remove ourselves as much as possible. That means a lot of the family pictures. Sometimes it's the artwork. Sometimes it's the designs that we've done. Sometimes it could be even painting a wall. If you have a really beautiful mural on a wall, sometimes you might need to go ahead and paint that wall a neutral color, because when a buyer comes in and they see that, they're not going to see themselves with that. So I always talk to my sellers whenever we go out and I do a listing. I always say, here's the things that we need to do in order to sell the house. We have to make sure that we keep it clean. We have to make sure that as a seller, we're flexible with showing. You can't just say, I only want to show my house from 8 to 5 because I come home from work and I'm not going to want to show anything after that. You have to remember that buyers also have jobs and they're also working from 8 to 5. So a lot of times, the only time they're able to see a house is going to be after 5 o'clock or on the weekends. So it's very important that you're flexible on those times. And there are people that do shop during 8 to 5. They can get away from their job. So when you wake up in the morning, you and the kids, make sure you make your bed, that you clean the tub out, and you dry it down, make that house show ready. Because if a buyer walks in and the first thing they do is they see clutter, then they immediately start to get a negative impression. And remember, when you're selling that house and they come in for that one showing, first impressions is everything. And just a story is that there was a beautiful house from the outside. We drove up, curb appeal, everything was beautiful on this house. But we opened the front door, and as soon as we opened the door, the first thing that hit us was the animal smell. And even though the layout was nice, the buyer just could not get past that first thing, that first impression. So I'm like, well, let's just look through it. And they're like, oh, I just can't do this because if I move in, I'm going to have to try to get the carpet changed. I have to get this changed. I have to get all this stuff done. That's why it's important, seller, if you have animals, make sure that if it's kitty cats, make sure the litter is always clean. Put, your Armor Heart baking soda, whatever it is, to take that smell out. Put some clean, have the carpet cleaned professionally. Get that, have it, what is it called? The pet deodorizers, have that done. Have the walls painted. Make sure that you are doing your best to remove that animal smell. If you have animals that you crate, like the dogs and everything, make sure that the dogs have been bathed. You keep them clean. Don't let them, smell like outdoors, because if you walk in the kitchen and they smell like outdoors and they've been crated, then your kitchen area, wherever you're having the animals crated, that's what they're going to smell. Even if you know that maybe you have a neighbor or someone that you can possibly leave your animals with while you're showing, that's another good idea, because people want to get around and they want to look and be comfortable with looking. And again, like I said, if you remove certain things, then your buyer's able to see uh, themselves in that house. The other thing is decluttering. Remove things as much as possible. You know, remember, you're trying to sell that house as quick as possible. So go ahead and take some stuff out of the house. If you know that you're going to move in a short period of time and you're able to maybe take some of your stuff out and put it in storage, then do that. Remove that and just keep it as simple as possible. When buyers come in, they really want to see themselves in that house, not everyone else. So those are just some of my tips about if you're ready to sell. Make sure you have curb appeal. Keep that yard together. Rake up the leaves. Roll up the hose. Put all your clothes up. Organize your closet. Make sure that you, after you've brushed your teeth and everything, that you wipe all the toothpaste off the mirrors and everything, you know, because I'm telling you, you would not believe some of the things that we see as agents is when we're walking in with buyers to sell their homes. I can tell you that the homes that I sell, that I've made offers on or I've sold quickly, have been homes that have been very clean, very organized. They've smelled fresh. They've had like that fresh smell. I don't know if it's a plug-ins or what it is, but they walked in and there's been decluttered. I mean, they've decluttered and depersonalized the walls. I just know that those have been my quick sellers because the buyer comes in and they see themselves there and they're able to actually see the entire layout of the house. So that's why I say it's very important to open up your home and declutter. So if you're wanting to sell your house quickly for the highest price possible, declutter, clean, paint. That doesn't mean go and spend a lot of money on you know, putting cabinets in and cabinets and countertops and new carpet, unless it's something that's needed and you know that it's going to help the value. But never put yourself upside down in a house and expect the house to sell for everything that you put back into it, because remember, when you sell your house, it's going to sell at market value for the most part, unless there's someone that really wants the home, and of course they can offer above market value if they qualify for that, or if they're paying you know, paying over the value of the appraisal, or they're just going to be approved for extra money. So they can do that. You can, you know, if they're willing to do that. But always know that the smartest thing to do is to list your home around the market value, and depending on what it is that you have and how we price the home, is the money that you will get. But the first thing to remember, and I always say this, make sure that you're walking away from your home every day remembering that someone else is going to walk in there that may not necessarily have our same taste in how our homes are. So we want to just kind of open it up and keep it as open visually, so that they can choose what it is that they want to do and see themselves in there. So I hope this helps you, because being an agent, I just see a lot of things when it comes to sellers and sellers not being prepared. One other thing that I will say, also sellers, it's really more comfortable when you leave the property. When a buyer comes in, if you can leave the property so they can walk through and talk and feel comfortable, that's better for them too. It's a little uncomfortable for the buyer to come in and you're sitting there and you're watching them walk through the whole house, and they go to the room and you follow them into the room, and then you're telling them the story of what happened in this house and how much you've loved it, and you know that doesn't help them. They're trying to walk through the house and get their view on things and form their opinion, and it's kind of a distraction when sometimes the seller stays there. Another story I'll say that was kind of funny is that which I was showing a house, and we were walking through the house, and the buyers opened the garage, and the man was just standing there in the garage, and they screamed, and they're like, oh, and so it just kind of made the whole situation uncomfortable because when they opened the garage door, they weren't expecting him to be there, but he's like, well, I didn't feel like leaving, so I just left the house there. And it's like, oh, okay, well, it would have been nice that we had known that, but we didn't. But we opened the garage door and it was dark. And when we flicked on the light, and there he was. It was like, so anyway, if you can get away from everything as far as the inside, that would be a great thing. Um, uh, so that's my tip. That's my tip for today. And I always end my podcast with just a little quote from that I always find something that's encouraging to me. So today's quote is going to be, you've got three choices: give up, give in, or give it all you've got. And I'll say that again. You always have three choices: either give up, give in, or give it all you've got. So this has been a moment with Tyranny. I have a very, very uh, interesting guest that will be on our next podcast. You don't want to miss it. This is a growing experience for me, and I appreciate everyone that is growing with me. I love you, and we will see you next week, same time. Have a great one.